what's the message to your team after a game like that?
Oh, it sucks. I mean, can't say it any differently. I mean, we had it, but again, like we only had 3 hits, and we got to grind, and we every loss really looks the same. When we get beat, we have very minimal hits, and it's been happening in game 3. So we got to find a way to be more competitive and make better adjustments and have better at bats in the batter's box in game 3, and figure out why our pitcher's getting us out. I thought Krings threw unbelievable today. And obviously you have hindsight, but we've been going to Pinnell all season long as our closer. And I would make that same switch all the time because I mean she's won a ton of ball games for us, but it's really easy to have hindsight, especially when Krings threw as well as that she did. But we just have to have better at bats. We have to be more competitive. We have to make different adjustments and not keep getting the same result.
What do you think it is about, game 3, maybe the approach, and, what do you think the key to breaking through that is for the
I
postseason?
don't, I look at it and I wonder if it's, um, I don't want to say complacency because we're a very motivated, driven, competitive team. Um, but I don't know if we take a couple things for granted. We have win 1 and 2, and we just go out there and we have that grit and that fire in game 1 and 2, and I just don't see that same determination in game 3. That we think we can keep doing the same thing and we're going to get the same result. And that's the definition of repetitive idiocy. So, we got to do something different. We got to play harder. We got to make better adjustments. And we got to play like our backs up against the wall because when we play that way, we're a really exceptional team, and we just have to that determination, that grit in game 3.
You spoke about offensive adjustments and stuff. Is there something in particular that you're seeing recently? Obviously, you talked about the changeup early on. Is it the same kind of problems, or is there something else that's kind of popping up when you kind of look at it?
I think we evaluate too much. Like when we hit well, we move to hit every single pitch, and we have a lot of intent, and we're extremely aggressive. And when I see that we have outings like this, we take a lot of hittable pitches. We get behind in the count. We're defensive, and we're reacting to the pitch rather than being the hunter and attacking every single pitch. So that's a mentality thing. So that's where we just have to maybe put them in some more live situations in practice with the game on the line so they feel that their back is up against the wall to have more intent in trying to swing more free. And that's something that we're going to evaluate as a coaching staff.
Have you seen your team kind of maybe turn things around after taking a game 3 loss and then heading in, especially a shorter turnaround this weekend?
I mean, we respond all the time. Like, I don't have to yell and scream and, you know, threaten them in any way. Like, they know. So the first thing I do in the locker room is I ask, what are you feeling right now? And they're frustrated. No one goes out wanting to lose a game. So it's just figuring out a little bit more reflection. And I think what happens, and I can use Pinella as an example, when you focus on the result and if you focus on winning or you focus on I have to get a hit or I want to lead the country in saves, you're only looking at the result. You're not looking at the process. And when you become process driven, you're looking to hit every single pitch. You're looking to get on time. You're looking to attack. And I think when that game 3, we get a little more result on let's sweep rather than let's win every single pitch. And that's where we have to continue to reinforce the process that's going to give us that opportunity rather than what the result is that we're trying to attain.
I know today obviously wasn't the result you wanted, but after senior day yesterday, kind of what was that moment like for you to see your seniors kind of go through that?
I'm so unbelievably proud of our senior class. They are tremendous ambassadors of the program. They've left a legacy. They've done tremendous things for us and the freshmen and really left their mark that's going to last forever. I mean, the impact that they've had on the freshmen are going to remember that for their entire career, and that's really what their legacy is going to be. So yesterday was extremely emotional. Watching that senior video during the ceremony was touching, and you can just see the impact that they've had on every single individual and all of our coaches.
You kind of reverse engineered the response that Jenna had when I asked her this, but I kind of wanted to ask you, like, straight up. So, like, when you score in the first inning, that's kind of become a theme for this team. I think either 2 games or 3 games this series, score in the first inning, set the tone. But then, kind of in the later innings, you struggle to put runners on base, string hits together. So, would you say that that's part of the adjustments, that they're over adjusting, and how's that kind of looked for this team?
I don't think that they're processing the situation at bat to at bat. So they're coming out with a great approach. And we're scoring and we're having quality at bats. And when I evaluate a team and I evaluate hitters, I want their at bats to get better throughout the course of the game. And it felt like today they got worse. We weren't swinging at good pitches. We didn't have intent. We weren't on time, and it was the same pitcher. So she wasn't doing anything different. It was we were more defensive. So that's where we have to continue to improve. And I feel like they get like that when they start to feel the pressure of the situation and worrying about the result rather than worrying about, I just need to get myself on time.
We've talked about Lauren and obviously leadoff batters being kind of the problem. 0 for 7 tonight for Mississippi State. Just kind of how have you seen her approach kind of change, especially in these past two games? And do you think she's kind of turning a curve a bit from kind of her earlier starts?
No pun intended, right?
Yeah.
She has done a tremendous job in controlling the batters. She deserved to win today. Absolutely. She threw her butt off and competed and threw an unbelievable game and deserved the win. She's throwing both sides of the plate with command. And we were working on her drop ball to be her second or third best pitch, and it really kept them off balance, and that was really good to see. And then her changeup is just so effective. I'm really, really proud of her because her mentality has been to just go out there and leave it all on the field, which is why she's going as deep as she can into the game. Because she's giving it all she has. She's not putzing around with the hitters. She's really attacking them and going after them early and getting easy outs and having key strikeouts. And that's what we need out of a senior pitcher.
You came in saying hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
Did you really pen, like, did you have Fennell in the pen a little bit before she came out? And how did that kind of, because I know you went with Krings and you went with Krings on Saturday, and it works out sometimes, but tonight it didn't. And so for Pennell, how's her warm-up process look like that, and how much trust do you kind of put in, like, having her to put her out there?
Pennell has the exact same warm-up every single game. She knows when she goes out there. She starts in the fourth inning. She starts to throw she starts in the fifth inning. She gets close in the sixth inning. She's ready to go game time in the seventh inning. So that's the same exact every single game, regardless of what the score and the situation is, because then she's even getting her work in if she's not going out. I went to Pennell because we had a lefty, and it was the leadoff batter, and that's her bread and butter. And, it was unfortunate that she walked her in that situation to set up the righty. But, I mean, it is the matchup that I would do 10 out of 10 times. It's just unfortunate that the ball got away from her and she wasn't on time for that first batter.
Looked like Mississippi State was seeing Pennell quite well this weekend. 2 hits yesterday, then obviously the walk and the hit today. What did you see from them and their hitters that they were able to attack Pennell, and what can you do to minimize that from now on?
I really don't look at yesterday because yesterday the conditions with the rain, I mean, it is so unbelievably difficult to throw in those conditions. A female with a small hand and a larger ball is really tough to spin and tough, which is why we went heavy with the changeup yesterday. Today it looked like a timing thing. And tomorrow, after the emotion of this game settles down, she and I will have a real good conversation on what did you feel in that moment and to see where her head was. And if it wasn't focused on one pitch and winning each pitch, then we know what the reasoning is. So I don't think it was that they were seeing her really well. It was that Pennell wasn't at her best.
Obviously, Jenna with a couple errors today, and then maybe a missed play in center on that double in the seventh. Just how do you kind of assess the defensive performance tonight, and just where do you think you need to improve?
It's not Mizzou softball, that's for sure. Very uncharacteristic of Jenna. I mean, obviously we know she's a Golden Glove Award winner and, makes ridiculous plays, and those are 2 routine plays. And so we'll look at some video to see is it her first step reaction. The routine play sometimes is the hardest play to make because it's right at you and you lose that depth perception. And that's what it looked like from our angle, that her body was already going towards first and the ball was on her right-hand side, which is going to eat her up every single time. So going back to that, but then also, putting them in some pressure situations, maybe some game-winning plays and the game's on the line that they have to feel comfortable, with the winning run and scoring position. And we have to make those pitches and we have to have those at-bats with the winning run and we have to make those defensive plays.
Coach Jenna talked about Mississippi State pitching you guys a lot inside today. They were getting a lot of those calls from the umpire, led to some frustration from your side of the dugout. What were you kind of seeing from you and the rest of your hitters out there today?
That we made her look better than she is. And I don't care what the pitcher throws, we have to make adjustments. And I'm not going to judge I thought the umpire called a great game. And I think they were all hittable pitches. And if we're getting jammed, then we have to make adjustment. Either we were swinging at balls inside there, and I got to look at video to be able to confirm that, or we were letting the ball get too deep. But I'm going to tell you, from when I call a game, I'm going to always jam up their best hitters because I don't want them to extend. So our hitters have to be able to expect the same exact thing. I will tip my cap to Mississippi State because it's the first time that I've seen a right-handed thrower jam up our lefty hitters. And they did an amazing job being able to keep, especially Alex Honnold, off balance. I mean, she did jump all over and hit a home run, but all weekend long, they were jamming her and not really giving her anything that she can handle.
Coach, undefeated in SEC series at home this season. I mean, that's in and of itself is quite the statistic. I mean, for any team to be able to do that. But I mean, for this program and making this big next step forward, I mean, how much does that mean to you, and for this team to be able to, come out and compete every single series? I mean, how big is that for the program?
I mean, it's great to win every series at home in front of your home crowd. I mean, the atmosphere, and when they're standing up in the seventh inning, I mean, it's so good for Mizzou and Mizzou softball and Columbia, and I love it for that aspect. I don't get caught up in it because I want to win every game, and that's what I go out regardless if it's home or away. I mean, I want to defend our home field like no other, and I want this to be the toughest place to play in the SEC and in the country. And if we have an opportunity to host regionals, I want this place to be electric and people be intimidated to come here. And that's the environment that we create. But at the same time, I want to win every single game, and we're going to go out to try and coach and do our best to win every single game, home or away.
You've shown you can win SEC games in Columbia, but when you go to Columbia, South Carolina next week, what's that going to be like for y'all looking to improve your, the computer rankings right now? You ranking really high, pretty good chance at maybe sneaking into one of those top 8 spots next week if you have a good series. So what's the mentality going like over there, and how excited are you to go out there for one last series?
Columbia's Columbia, man. Yeah. I mean, we're going to go out and we're going to give it our best shot. I mean, that's what we're going to do every single time, and we're going to compete our butt off. We know we're going to see great pitching again. We have to be more competitive, and we're going to go out and we're going to try to win the series at South Carolina and carry that momentum. I like how we're playing. Yes, the result wasn't there. Yes, we have some things we need to work on, but we are so close. And when I look at the standings, and I don't share this with the team, but I'll share it with the public. When I look at the standings, we could easily be in the top 4. Easily be in the top 4. And that was one of our goals. Is it attainable at this point? Like, we obviously have to have a lot of help, and I don't even know if it's possible. But that just shows you how close we are to what we could do. And we're playing so well right now, and we're extremely confident. We just have to continue to carry that momentum into South Carolina, into the SEC tournament, into the postseason.
How well do you think that your pitchers embody that sort of confidence? I mean, 4 runs allowed all weekend long, great outings from just about all your pitchers.
Yeah.
How have they kind of led the way for you?
Our pitchers, what I'm really happy with our pitchers is how healthy they are. They're so fresh. They're not overthrown. I don't even know if Harrison has 100 innings yet. McCann is probably hovering around 60 or so. And Krings is just over 100. So extremely fresh and healthy, which is why they're peaking right now. Like, they feel really good. Their bodies feel really good, and we just have to maintain that because they haven't been overthrown all year long. And that's what helps having a really deep bullpen.
You haven't lost a game this year that you have scored less than 5 runs. So
We have not lost a game that we've scored.
So
less
every
than.
game that you've scored 5+,
Okay.
you've won.
Okay.
So moving forward,
Okay.
I mean, what does that say about this pitching staff that you're able to be competitive in those games, and also like, when you have games like that offensively, what's kind of the difference there for y'all?
It's good to hear. The biggest thing is our offense needs to understand, like, we're not going to win a lot of ball games only having 3 hits. And it's not fair to our pitchers to expect them to throw shutouts. Like, that's extremely hard to do at any level, and nonetheless our conference. And I guess against a team like Mississippi State that leads the conference in batting average and a lot of other offensive categories. So we have to, and from a coaching standpoint, maybe I need to manufacture more runs. Maybe I need to put more people and go base to base and hit and run, and maybe steal some more and not care about video review and those types of things to get more people in scoring position. Because if we're winning when we score 5 or more, then we got to get 5 or more fast.
Coach Cara Daly has kind of struggled as of late. I know she had a few hits against Georgia, but 0 for her last 24 here at home. Just kind of what have you seen with her, and just what's the key to kind of unlocking her potential again, kind of what she's shown in the past?
I think she's one of those that she's just evaluating, and she looks completely different in practice than she does in games. Completely different. And she's proven it in practice, and she's worked extremely hard, and she puts in a lot of extra time. And, you know, no one's more frustrated than she is. And we feel for her, which is why we keep throwing her out there and move her down in the lineup to take that pressure off of. And, you know, I know she's going to come through. I hope it's just right at the right time. But we have complete confidence and trust in her, and she wouldn't be in the lineup if we didn't. So, I mean, I know she's probably second guessing every single thing she sees, and that's the terrible thing about hitting. And how do you get out of a slump? You swing the bat. You draw walks. So it's seeing good pitches and her recognizing when pitches, and when she starts to draw walks, then I know she's seeing the ball a little bit better.
Coach, you haven't been afraid to switch around the lineup to try and get a spark. Have you thought about that at all? To maybe try and find a spark at the bottom of your lineup, using some of your bench players to kind of use that spark. Obviously, Chester's made a couple appearances this weekend.
Yeah, I have. You know, we are a little bit in a lull, and I feel like Langer is leading off a lot of innings. So we need a little bit more production at that bottom of the lineup. And, you know, Chester, I think she's unbelievable in RBI situations. And I want to continue to use her in that because her mindset and, you know, statistically, she really comes through and has great at-bats, and not so much when people aren't on base. So, you know, using people in their strengths and their role and being able to give us the best opportunity. I think Claire Cahalan is one that we could probably use a little bit more as a leadoff batter to get on base and try to make some things happen because of her speed.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Coach.